let's talk about your slushies.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, not healthy, I'm imagining. Definitely alcoholic.
Yeah. Once we finally got approved, it was, I want to say like March 10th or 11th. And then 10 days later, the world shut down. And slushies just went crazy. It's going to take us like 3 years to pay off this whole space of the store that we just added. And we're like, all right, it's going to take us years to pay this off. And I think we paid it off in like 3 months. So the flavors we have right now, blood orange peach, pina colada, margarita, Jamaican Me Happy, black cherry, and Long Island iced tea. Our record was 700 during...
Insane.
It was one day...
Welcome back to the BrewedAt podcast. I'm your host, Richie Tevlin, joined as always by Evan Blum. And today we welcome on Dave Argust from Beermill. Just Beermill, not Beermill West Chester?
Beermill West Chester,
Okay,
Beermill, either
cool.
one works.
Cool. So if you're not familiar, Beermill is, a very, very cool beer distributor in West Chester. So it's like in a college town, but you guys are like very craft heavy. So I know, I've known who you are. I'm trying to sell beer now. Like, you're somebody I need to talk to. And the last couple conversations we had with beer distributors have been great conversations. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so I started at Beermill just like pretty much the rest of my employees did. I started in college. I really, I guess I liked craft beer, but I don't think I knew a whole lot. I think I might have had like 3 or 4, and my dad was a huge craft beer guy, so that kind of got me into wanting to work in the beer industry.
Was it at West Chester?
Yeah,
Cool.
I was in West Chester. I started when I was 21, like fresh. I just wanted kind of a discount, I think, too. That was a big perk of working there. And then I just kept working there throughout the rest of my senior year, and I got super passionate about it. I started hitting, going to different breweries, standing in line, waiting for beer. And it just became like a huge passion for me. And then the owner offered me a full-time position after I graduated and just never left.
Nice.
Yeah.
Still living the dream.
Yeah, still living the dream, loving West Chester.
12th year.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a good one. I like that.
So I guess it's probably very cool for your employees that they come in and they see you, like, you started just as they were. Yeah. And now kind of look where you're at now.
Yeah. No, it's I think anybody, especially if you're looking for like a passion and you get to work at it every day, like for me that's like what beer is, especially craft beer.
Definitely. So I want to kind of touch on this from the start. You guys are in a college town. Yeah. So a lot of the other beer distributors that we have on, they're very craft heavy. Like, you probably have a much different clientele than them. So that, like, I'm kind of interested to hear, like, you have this like dichotomy of like old men drinking craft beer and like these young college kids coming in.
It's wild. We have like, I'd say like 3 different categories of people that come into our store. Definitely a lot of college kids, but that's September to December, and then like February to May. Then we just have the locals. West Chester's Chester County is one of the wealthiest counties in Pennsylvania. So we have, and that's kind of like the demographic of craft beer, is definitely just like a wealthier people. That's just kind of how it is right now. And then we also have a very big like Hispanic, Mexican demographic. Okay. So we're also selling like a ton of Modelo and Corona. Then we got Natural Light and Lucky Streak and Keystone Light, and then we just got a ton of craft beer customers, which is like super fun. And I'm not in the judging business; I'm just in the selling business. That's what I like to always say. So it doesn't matter what you like; it's just as long as you're having fun doing it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I like the idea that you can like sell beer to these people that are like just drinking Natty Light every weekend, but then you have these options right next to it, like. If you're interested in this, you can kind of like bring them over to the craft beer side of things.
Absolutely. And I see it happen all the time. It's like people, and it's also like even people going from craft beer to just a Miller Lite. Yeah. It's like, just as I always say it, just have fun.
Yeah, so kind of with that, I mean, we had spoken last week briefly. the big thing with beer distributors right now is the passing of the new laws where you can sell RTDs 12.5% at beer distributors.
Yeah.
So, as a brewer, I'm like, this is very bad news because now I'm competing against more things on the shelf. But what you had said is like, this is almost a better thing for you guys and for craft brewers because a lot of that business of people just walking in and, coming upon craft beer, they weren't even coming into the store.
Yeah, so I think when the craft cocktails started to happen, we started to lose a customer that was even just like walking into the store. They're like, hey, do you guys have Surfsides or Statesides or High Noons? And we'd be like, no, we don't have that option. We don't sell vodka-based drinks. And they would just walk out the door. And now that we're going to be having them, they're going to stay in and potentially shop for something else. Or it just at least makes it one-stop shopping. So that's something that I think is going to be huge for us and huge for beer distributors and even grocery too, just to get that customer to stay in the store.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, the whole alcohol laws in Pennsylvania, just like all across the country, are just so crazy. It's just they're where they're at because of laws that were there 80 years ago, and they've kind of just transformed into this. And
I kind of understand why the state owns liquor and spirits. It's $1 billion business. It's huge. Like that's like a big portion of where like our taxes go to is from that from selling that. So I'm happy. I'm super stoked we're having it because it's huge. It's like the canned seltzers right now are down huge and canned cocktails are up huge. So it's a really exciting time. Really excited for September.
Nice, cool. So I mean, to take a step back, can we walk through, I guess, back to your journey of like kind of taking over here or Beermill story in general? Yeah. You guys kind of been around for what, 18, 20 years?
Yeah, so Beermill opened in 1997. Okay. Sean opened it, and it was a struggle. It was a tough time. It was kind of on the rough side of West Chester. And most people that lived in on that side of town during that time know it. Like it wasn't a great side of town, and then just West Chester like just continually grew throughout the years, and then the business just ended up growing more and more, and which has been awesome. I started in 2016. Okay. And then I did take a small hiatus of working there part-time, and then I started at a social media marketing agency. Cool. And that kind of got me my background and kind of how I grew the Beermill social media pages. So I learned a lot at that first job. But I was also working at the Beermill part-time, and then Sean offered me a full-time position, and then I just got really into craft beer. And just like working with different breweries and working with wholesalers and just making Beermill like one of the best spots.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like the same thing that we talked about with Stones and Kunda Beverage. It's like the beer distributors now feel like they're their own brand. They're not just a store where you're buying alcohol. Like you're almost coming at it from a craft beer perspective where you're creating this brand around you. I mean, the merch you have is awesome. Thank you for bringing some of that. No problem. Running out of shirts, but
the merch has definitely been something I've been a huge fan of, just because it's I'm wearing Beermill every day to work, and I want to wear something cool and not the same thing every day.
And I'm sure a lot of the kids that go to West Chester, like to them, it feels like they're buying beer there all the time. Like they're connected to it. They want to buy it.
Huge marketing play. Yeah. And one of the things that I do too is like I never repeat merch. It's always something new. So even for like the locals, like I get them to rebuy stuff. Yep. Whether it's new, like I literally have never repeated a piece of merch. Nice. It's always something new. So I think I'm through probably like 10 to 15 hats now, probably 15 shirts, a couple different sweatshirts. I've done flannels. I've also missed on some merch. Like I thought like the golf play was like a huge moment, and I did polos, and man, was that one a miss. So now they're just employee shirts. Nice. So like that's been a good one. But like hats, dude, people love hats. I also wear hats every day. I'm bald, so I gotta have a hat on. But yeah, dude, the merch part of it's really fun. I have a buddy who like really helps me with a lot of designs. Cool. And I use Brewery branding. I don't know if you're
Oh,
familiar
yeah.
with him. Yeah. He helps me.
Trevor?
Yeah, Trevor's my boy. Yeah, Trevor's a good dude. So like he's helped me with getting a lot of merch printed. He printed these shirts. So yeah, no, the merch game is huge. It's
Nice.
just like it's like such a good feeling watching like I'm just like at a bar and seeing somebody wearing it.
Yeah.
I usually buy them a beer because it just pumps me.
It's
up.
almost like a better feeling. Like if they don't know who you are, like they're literally just buying it because they want to sport.
Dude, it's wild. A lot of people do know who I am in West Chester, which is like it's like I listened to the podcast the other day, and he's like, I'm a local celebrity. It's like, yes, I feel the same way. Usually they just go, there's the Beermill guy.
But that's a good thing. Like what I said to him was like, I like how breweries, the owners are in front of the brand. I think someone that like it's where it's Wizard of Oz, but they're just behind this curtain. I think that it's not disingenuous, but like I think that it's when someone's proud of what they're doing and like they can get in front of it, I think it makes the brand more valuable.
I 100% agree. It's just like also just going back to like a social media thing, like any post that my face is in does drastically better. Or anything that like my face or anybody on my team's face is on. Social media just like literally gives you so many bonus points for that, and they love it. So and then it just gets everything out there more, and just getting a conversation started.
Yeah,
is huge.
that's interesting you say that, because Rhythm Brewing out in Connecticut we were talking about earlier, same thing. When I was just looking through some of her social media, it was so obvious that every post that she was a part of, the like ratio is just like blasted so much higher.
Yeah, it's wild. I did it was more of just like a funny social media play, but a local bar in West Chester, Jitters, did a hot dog eating contest last spring, and I was just standing there, I'm like, maybe I should put this on live. And I just put my phone on. I started filming like a live Instagram reel, and it was like one of our most viewed videos for a few months. I was like, I think I got like 8,000 views. I was like,
oh my god,
nothing was even close to that oh my god, I felt horrible during that whole thing. I found out at the last second I was participating, and I wanted to do it. I thought it would be funny. That's why I was thinking the whole time.
Free hot dogs.
Yeah, free hot dogs. I did okay. Not that great. The guy that actually won it, he competed at the Nathan's hot dog.
Wow.
Really?
Dude, he crushed.
How many did you get down?
I did 8, but I got disqualified because I started throwing up.
After 8 hot dogs.
After 8, I did 8 in 10 minutes, but once you throw up, you're out. You're out. It was brutal.
The big thing this summer was the 999 challenge. 9 beers, 9 hot dogs.
Oh, at the
9
Philly
innings.
Stadium, or just a baseball thing? I forget.
Did you give that a try?
My roommate did it. I think he did like 5 or something.
Yeah.
So we just heard how intelligently my roommate spoke. 2 weeks ago, he also ate the hot dog, drank a bunch of beers.
Dude, it was a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. But next year I'm gonna come back. My goal is 10.
Training.
Okay.
10 and keep them down.
Nice, double digits.
That's a pretty good goal.
Yeah. No, I came in if I didn't puke, I think I would have came in 4th place.
Pace yourself.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah.
So your social media, when you took over your social media, when was that? And then did you see, how are the differences you've seen since then?
Yeah, so I created all the social media.
So you didn't have socials?
We didn't have anything.
Wow.
We might have had a Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook was but it wasn't being used. He wasn't posting at all. And it's definitely one of the harder part of my job. There's weeks where I'm crushing, hitting a post every single day. Right now, creating reels, that takes a ton of time. But I created them all and grew them, and it took a lot of time. But it's also a fun hobby too. I enjoy it. Creating the reels now video is huge. That is another thing that does really great. But yeah,
I mean, it gives personality to your brand.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't want them all to be corny, funny videos, because I think that takes away from it. But creating ones where I'm like actually telling people like what.
I mean, the eagle
beers
taking
do.
a shit was very funny.
that one was hilarious. My girlfriend was begging me not to do it, but I'm like, I already did it.
No, I saw it. It was very funny.
But right now, I got a really good group of guys on my team, and they can pump out videos like no other. They're literally
Gen Z. These kids are built for
they're
it.
fast, dude. They create the one kid created a video in 15 minutes, and
Oh my God.
I'm watching it, and I'm like, that video would have took me an hour and a half. And it would have like crushed my day. I wouldn't have gotten anything done, and it's also like just giving like some of your guys some trust to like do that stuff. I'm not letting them post it, but I'm letting them create it.
Well, they feel more connected to it, and then their friends see it,
Dude, that's
and they want to come
100%.
shopping
They're sharing
there.
it with all their friends too,
Yeah.
which is like
Mhm.
pretty awesome. And like they have a bunch of friends. Some of them are in the fraternities at school, and like they just have a big friend group. And they're also like I'm blown away. Like some of them are funny. Like the one I posted today, they posted
There's the
on
Natty Light.
Yeah,
I saw that
they
one.
Posted on, I might not have been the funniest video, but they posted on their TikTok, and it's at 100,000 plays.
Let me ask
Oh
you
my
this.
gosh.
So, you,
And I'm like, well, I'm gonna post it on the page right now, so
Yeah.
see how it does.
so there was it was like a 4 foot tall vinyl picture or statue of Snoop Dogg bobblehead.
Yeah.
And then you guys have the Natty Light costume. Do you just have like a warehouse filled with stupid beer things?
The Natty Light costume I just got this week.
Okay.
And my wholesaler rep was like, "Yo, I've been seeing this thing in his closet, and he's like, I just took it out and brought it here. I figured you could do something funny with it." And my guys didn't even ask me; they just grabbed it and made a video. And I'm like, "It's good enough. We're gonna make another one with it." But the Snoop Dogg, there's a ton of stuff. We ended up giving a lot of it away. People have offered a lot of money for Snoop Dogg. It's going online for like $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, but I won't sell it.
I mean, you can't.
It's got
incredible.
Yeah, it's got cracks in it now too. Like little kids love it, and they love playing with it. And I'm just like.
And what is that? The beer companies just come to you and they
just like marketing stuff, and people take pictures with it. Like the Snoop Dogg one is one of the best ones we've gotten.
What is that, Core? Or not Core, is it Corona?
Corona.
Yeah.
But I think he might be leaving Corona. I don't know if that's 100%
Snoop?
true. Yeah, he might be leaving Corona and starting something. I think he might be starting his own seltzer brand.
Well, he has the.
He's with Happy Dad.
Yeah, Happy Dad.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. I thought I heard something with that.
So is Happy Dad, is that an RTD? That's a seltzer, right?
So yeah, it's a malt-based seltzer. That's a brand that is crushing right now.
Yeah.
With all like the canned cocktail stuff and a lot of our seltzers being down, like Happy Dad's doing some really good things. Like they know how to market themselves. They're all over social media.
Yeah, I mean the Nelk Boys. It's like some of these a lot of brands kind of fumble it, but like if you're able to kind of bring on a celebrity, like they're the owners of it, like they kind of like it's just a lifestyle brand.
Yeah, no, I think Happy Dad's doing all the right things. I don't know if I don't like seltzers, so I'm not the right demographic, but they've kind of found a way to get young males drinking seltzer.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and the normal size cans too.
Yeah, the normal 12-ounce not skinny cans.
Yeah. So I mean, have you came on, and I guess since you've come on, like there has been like you kind of push craft beer to come in.
Yeah.
So what was that process like? Like how did you start with a brand specifically that you kind of brought on and leaned on, and then you grew from there?
So when I first started, it was right at 2018.
Okay.
Was when we could start bringing in 4-packs. So I started before it was just 12-packs.
Okay.
We were bringing in craft wise, and craft beer wasn't that big at the beer mill at that time.
Yeah.
And then once we started bringing in 4-packs, that's right when I started full time, and I started taking over orders. And just kept like bringing in more and more stuff, and it just kind of drove more traffic into the store. And then honestly, getting a hold of the social media pages and like starting them was like a huge play. I used to post big pictures of like a wall of beer. There'd be like 40 different cans in it. And that I think was what started driving people to our store to buy craft beer.
I mean, it's like people come in, it's like going to like an adult candy store. Like you're just, even if you're not buying can't buy everything, but like you go in there and buy one 4-pack, but you're looking at everything.
You're seeing it all.
Yeah.
So it just, it kind of just like skyrocketed at one point. And then I also think, us, instead of putting it on the shelf in like our warehouse, putting it into our coolers. So most of like the really good craft that you see in our store, like anything over $20 a 4-pack is going into our walk-in cooler.
I like also how you have the 6 stools, the craft 6 stools on the wall. I mean, when we had Nick in, he was talking on having the 6 stools somewhere, and he said it was like a big deal to like have the keg ring, because like if you just look at a keg, it just looks like a keg. You have to with a ring. Yeah. And he's talking about that whole thing, and you've done it perfectly with the tubes there.
Yeah. So one of Sean's friends thought of it a few years ago, and ours like broke. We had it kind of looking like that when I first started, but it collapsed. It was made out of wood. It wasn't really good. But now how we have them in there, it's very shoppable. 6 stools aren't, I'm not going to say are a huge part of our business, but we definitely do a pretty good share of them. And it just makes it easier for the customer to shop them and actually look at it. We don't have a really good website. That's not where a lot of our customers live. It's like we have a website, it's there, but we don't really use it.
Do you do any distribution at all?
We do a little bit. We do a couple like local spots in town,
but not to individual people or anything.
If they order it, yeah,
okay.
100%. I love it when customers pre-order stuff.
Yeah.
It makes it so much easier. They're getting the freshest thing possible.
Yeah.
I wish every customer did it that way. It made it easier. I would never have anything old in the store.
Yeah.
But some people just finish the keg and they're like, oh wait, I need a new one right now.
Yeah.
So that I keep like things that I know that are gonna sell week to week. That's to me the best way to do it. But every once in a while we'll get like special orders.
Nice. So you guys have the large craft sauce. You guys also have like a lot of imported beer.
Yeah,
and like imported craft beer.
Yeah, import like lagers are starting to come back. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, I couldn't sell a lager or a pilsner to save my life. Now that's all I drink, and we are selling more than ever, which is like really awesome.
This is one thing I don't like about the craft beer industry right now.
Yeah,
is like they're pushing. It's like even craft brewers are like starting to market heavily, like individually, like drinking Miller High Life and drinking like imported German lagers. I'm like, we're all hurting right now. Can we market our own beer? Like
exactly.
We are pumping the shit out of everyone. Like everyone's like, you must drink Guinness. I'm like, let's not give money to Guinness. Let's just start supporting ourselves.
Guinness is so big. Somebody should make like a dry stout like that.
I think a lot of people try to. It's just making it Guinness that tastes like Guinness is very hard.
Guinness it's so synonymous.
So big. It's
and it's not. It never has issues. So like there's not really nobody talks bad about it.
Yeah, 100%. It's like same thing with wheat beers. Like if your name's not Allagash, it's so hard to get your draft online.
Yeah,
I struggle selling it. If it's not Allagash, it's like it's gonna sit there.
I mean, they're so iconic that they become like it's Band-Aid. Like you're gonna make like a Guinness beer, you know?
Yeah. 100%. There's a lot of beers in the store that like I'm getting that nobody else is getting.
Oh really?
It's like Human Robot. Not many stores are getting.
You guys carry Human Robot?
So not many retailers.
That's cool.
Carry Human Robot. And then I was one of the first stores to carry Tired Hands for retail. It's mainly because I just like comment on their Instagram post. I'll either comment on their Instagram post or I'll find an email or I'll text a number and I will keep going until they say yes. And it's like I know it's super annoying. I'm like I don't care.
Yeah, you're saying it's annoying, but I'm sure there's a lot of salespeople right now. Like, where are people like Dave? Like, I'm trying to sell beer. Like, they're reaching out to me.
Like, I probably messaged Jake probably 10 times before he said yes. And then it was probably like a slower month for them, and they were like, yeah, man, come on down. And then he saw how fast I sold through like 20 cases of beer.
I think they also see who you are and like what Beermill is, and they kind of respect it. So I mean, like, when we had them on, they're like, we only sell beer to like these specific restaurants, and if they pour beer correctly, like you're not pouring their beer, but they know that you're treating it well, you're marketing it well.
Exactly. It's like they also know everything's going to be in the cooler. It's how they're selling it. I'm not price gouging their beer. Like I'm fairly pricing it, and we're all making money, and that's kind of like the name of the game is like we've got to make money. Being able to sell it, and I'm willing to drive down here and pick it up. They don't have to come to me. But like also like Tired Hands, like I remember the first time I ordered from them, and they sent me the list, and it was like 50 cases of beer, and she's like, "Oh," and then I literally ordered the next week like another 50 cases of beer, and they were like, "Wow, okay."
You're selling 50 cases. I mean, that's
Well,
because
yeah,
you're
at
one
the
of the
time, and we were the first ones carrying it. You don't have to drive 30 miles or however it is.
Yeah.
More. So like our customer base was like pumped. But like it's happened a few other times. Today we just picked up Warwick Farms.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's another one where I was messaging them for months, and they finally got back to me, and they're like, "Yeah, we got some beer for you." So yeah,
Nice,
we
that's
picked up,
awesome.
Like 20 cases, and I was like really stoked about it. Brew Gentleman was another one.
Cool.
But it's like. And then it's also just like making connections through like the beer industry. Eventually, you're gonna talk to somebody or be at a beer festival.
Yeah.
And just drop my card and just be like, hey, it's me on the other end, and then they have your face.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, what we talked about, social media, it helps connect, your company to consumers.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps connect everybody in the industry.
Yeah.
Like nobody's in the beer industry chilling on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I mean, we still post on LinkedIn and like no traction on
I deleted
LinkedIn.
my LinkedIn years ago. I started getting emails about it, and I'm like, God, do I need to like reopen this? But then I'm like, nah, I'm okay on that.
Yeah, I
I
changed
use
my LinkedIn
LinkedIn.
picture to me dressed as an astronaut. 'Cause I'm like, nobody that I work with even looks at this. But yeah, like you're able to connect with these people, and like people will see you as kind of like this, like kind of craft brewery kind.
No, I want them to end up looking at like my social page and see like, oh, this guy is moving some really good craft beer.
Yeah.
And seeing like we're passionate about it. We're not just throwing it on the shelf and praying somebody comes and buys it. I send out an email blast every week. That's what I found to be like one of my best sales things.
Emails?
Yeah, so I send it. I have like an email. Anybody can sign up for it. They just go to our website. There's a quick pop up. You sign up, and but the open rate on it is like 80%.
Wow.
And there's like 500 people on it, but like I post a picture of just like 4 cans from Equilibrium. Only like 80 people see it. It's like that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
When I have 4,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's like the email crushes, and it's also like posting my story works. I'll take screenshots of it every Friday. Like I send it on Thursday. Everybody that gets the email gets it first, and then the next day anybody that's following us gets to see it.
Cool.
But it's like it's free to be on it.
Yeah.
It's no secret. You just gotta kind of figure it out on your own. And I tell more locals about it because there was a period of time where like I had a lot of people from like Maryland and Delaware coming into our store.
Wow.
Like, just stealing beer from like our locals. It was like getting me really frustrated. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to do something a little different here.
That's so fun. Like you're in a much different position than a lot of other people. Like you built this great brand, and like you're like now trying to like strategically choose and like take care of like the local customers.
Making
it's
sure
very
they're
cool.
happy because like they're like I keep getting beat out for some of these cans. Like I'm not getting Heady Topper, and I'm like, well, dude, I don't know because
Locals only.
Media, almost everybody has an email.
Yeah.
So like that's what helps, and I send it out at the same time every Thursday. It's always at 4 o'clock, or at least I tried it for it to be. I just wait for everything to be in the store. That's like my goal.
That's cool.
Send it out.
Sick of your POS system being a POS? POS Specialists, powered by Heartland, have been the experts in cutting-edge POS technology for over 20 years. But they're not scriptwriters, so they let AI write their script. Thirsty for a delicious deal? Feast your eyes on our tastefully crafted point-of-sale system. From order up to cash out, this POS is the coriander spice your brewery needs. It'll have you saying, Brost. Yikes. See? That's why they have a 24/7 live phone support, not chatbots. Their experienced project managers will program your POS, train your staff, so you can just focus on the beer and not worry about the AI. Ask about their free processing options, handhelds, and online ordering. Email kevin@posspecialists.com. Mention BrewedAt and get $500 off your install. Email kevin@posspecialists.com.
So before we get into the NA stuff, because I do definitely want to touch on that, we'll do the opposite of that. Let's talk about your slushies.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, not healthy, I'm imagining. Definitely alcoholic. Can you talk a little bit about how that started and, the number that you just told us before? Like, we have to talk about that again.
Yeah, so we heard a few other stores. I think like Lancaster County was like where it was like really jumping off. Like, I heard stores like just like people loading up on slushies, and I was like, okay, let's look into it.
During COVID?
Yeah,
or was this before?
It was before COVID.
Okay.
So it was probably 2019.
Okay.
We started looking into it, and then we found out like there's a decent amount of stuff that we needed to do. We needed to get 3-bay sink to like clean them, which is like totally understandable. We had to get a new water heater because like we didn't really use that much water at the store, almost none.
Is that a different license? Like you have to kind of get health inspectors to come in?
So then I had to get the West Chester health inspectors. I had to get food managers certified.
Really?
Which sucks. It's like literally the only thing on that test is the 3-bay sink. That's the only thing that that pertained to myself, which was nuts. So I had to learn all this stuff about being in a kitchen that didn't apply to me. I think I just passed. I think I got 75 on it.
Wash your hands after you go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I studied for it too. It was hard. Like it was like I haven't worked in a kitchen since I was like 16 years old. And, like, I was just washing dishes. Like I wasn't doing anything specific. But and then so I did that, and once we finally got approved, it was I want to say like March 10th or 11th, and then 10 days later, the world shut down, and slushies just went crazy. Like it was insane. We were like, it's gonna take us like 3 years to pay off this whole space of the store that we just added, because none of that was there when you were in the store. Like that was a huge display space at the time, and we're like, all right, it's gonna take us years to pay this off, and I think we paid it off in like 3 months.
Yeah, I remember right when COVID started, it was slushies and like to-go margaritas. I remember there was like a Thursday night, and I walked down, I don't know if it was like Second Street Festival or something. I got a to-go margarita, and I was hammered drunk just walking around the middle of the street. But it was like everybody else was doing it too. It just kind of took over the world.
It's really fun. I like having the slushies. I think it's a super fun customer.
It is
that
fun.
Buys them. Like we have lots of regulars that are super awesome that are picking them up. I drink them from time to time. Like black cherries might go to.
Yeah, what type of flavors is like this?
So we have 6 different. And it's also like one of the only things in the store that we make like. Not exactly a bar margin on, but like the closest thing to it. Like our margins are way lower than a bar margin. It's so the flavors we have right now: blood orange peach, pina colada, margarita, Jamaican Me Happy, black cherry, and Long Island iced tea.
Nice.
But it's literally just a can. You pour it into the machine and it turns it into a slushie. It's pretty simple, but they taste really good.
Yeah.
It's really, that's all it is. During COVID, we were selling so many, we had to get a freezer to like pre-make them. I hated how they were coming out. Like I felt like anybody that was grabbing them from the freezer, it just wasn't good quality. They melted a little bit. The freezer, when you would open it and close it, would let hot air in, and it just couldn't keep up with how often people were opening and closing it. So I just ended up selling that, and we just try to keep up with it as best as we can throughout the day. So, yeah.
Nice. So can we talk about numbers?
Yeah,
is that something we can mention?
Dude, our record was 700 during.
Insane. That's crazy.
One day we had probably like at one point I think we were able to get like 100 slushies into the freezer, and then like each bay I think holds a little over 18 slushies, and like it was right from the start. Like people were buying them. And like during that time, like they were buying 10 to 12 at a time.
My gosh.
And just loading up, and there was lines for it. Like there's almost never lines in our store. Like, we're usually pretty quick at pumping through customers, and that day was just a different beast.
So not even like a can release, but like the slushy lines at a beer store.
Slushy Kings of West Chester. There was a place right next door to us called Sam's Pizza Island. They just closed, but they were like the original slushy. Like they were probably selling them for 10 years, and then once laws passed and we decided to go for it, we were able to sell them.
Nice.
But yeah, he was the originator. I'll give him that. But, he couldn't keep it. He didn't have enough. Like,
pass the torch.
He didn't have enough slushy machines to keep up with what we were doing. He was also more expensive, so we were able to be a little bit cheaper.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So going off of that, so slushy is kind of the opposite of that, is an NA beer.
Yeah.
So just like, the introduction of seltzers the last couple of years, like NA beers have been exploding. Athletic Brewing is now a top 10 brewery in the country, and your guys are selling a lot of those as well. Like
so non-alcs have just like skyrocketed. They're the only category in beer right now having growth, which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
To be thinking about like that, because there was a point in time where I didn't even want to carry non-alcs anymore. We weren't selling them. They were just taking up space in the store, and I was like, all right, I'm done. And then Athletic just came out of nowhere and just crushes. I think they just brought a new category of like bringing craft beer to non-alcoholic beer, just having different options than just lagers that you see like O'Doul's or Buckler or Clawstaller, and Athletic is definitely one of the most fun brands. They're really active on social media. They're sponsoring athletes.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a lot of the right things. And there's been a lot of other brands now popping up. Like I think this year we probably got probably 8 to 10, at least 8 to 10 new brands.
you said you have like 50 different options.
Yeah, we have 50
beer?
different options. I try to keep like
Wow.
if we pick a brewery up, I try to like carry everything from them.
Yeah.
And fill the shelf, because usually like I know me as a consumer, like I'm loyal to breweries. If I have one bad beer from a brewery that I felt like I spent too much on, I'm like, I'm never drinking that brewery again. I'm done with them. But yeah, no, non-alcs, like we now have Athletic, Best Day, Deschutes went all in on theirs. Tired Hands.
Is that Deschutes NA?
Yeah, I got Deschutes right here.
Could I try that?
Yeah.
This is the NA one?
Yeah, dude, they went all in on their stuff. Like I think they launched in 48 states.
Wow.
Like they went the right way for it. I think it's pretty spot on to a fresh squeeze. Like it literally doesn't miss.
Yeah, I think something really interesting is like you said, you're a frequent
That's not bad.
NA drinker,
Yeah.
and it's definitely a different perspective because I know Richie isn't the biggest fan. And
I understand.
Pro alcohol.
But I love that idea, and just like where do you see like that? When do you drink that
Yeah.
sort of thing? Like why even?
Yeah, so I started drinking NAs probably like 2 or 3 years ago. I was training for a marathon really hard, and Saturdays were always my long run days. I think we usually start them at 5:30 in the morning, but I still like love going out on Fridays. So I would just drink NAs out with my friends, or I would go 1 and 1, just so I wasn't hungover at 5:30 in the morning. And then it just got me into trying a bunch of different ones. Like I started with Athletic just because they were the craft beer option, but now I've tried a ton of other ones.
Are you drinking any hop seltzers or anything like that?
I've tried a couple of them. Not my favorite.
Yeah.
Like the Lagunitas Hoppy Refresher,
Yeah.
or the Sierra Nevada Hop Splash, or
They're not
Hop
great.
Water. They're not my favorite. I think they're great options at bars. Like I know Iron Hill in West Chester, they have a Hop Water. Not my favorite, but it's an option. Like if you're not feeling like having a beer.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of NA beers, but like my thought on it is like if you're trying to be healthy, like even if it doesn't have the alcohol, it still has all the carbohydrates in it and stuff. So it still has the calories in it. Like it doesn't have as many, but like I think a lot of the reason why beer is down and seltzers, not really RTDs are up, are this movement away from gluten.
Yeah.
So like these things still kind of have gluten in them. So like I always thought that hop waters would kind of like take over. I think I'm wrong on that because Athletic Brewing's where it's at. Hop water's not catching on, but
yeah, I think also with the hop water is still kind of new. I think too, It's just getting it into people's hands. They're not getting on-premise placements. At a lot of them, Athletic is getting all the on-premise placements, and I think it's wild not to be serving that Athletic or some kind of non-alcoholic beer until hop water or any of those styles. Like they need to get it in people's hands. That's the number one goal, in my opinion.
Nice. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of what I see as the trends in the industry, like these NA beers, the RTD beers, seltzers.
A quick question then. When you have your college demographic kind of come in, this is coming from like a Gen Z kind of trying to understand, do you see a lot of NA beers going to that demographic of drinker?
Yeah, they don't got that type of money. It's also
Just tap water.
Non-alcoholic beer isn't cheap either. It's the same price as regular beer, if not more expensive in some situations, depending on the brand. That's the one part that I think sucks about non-alc. It's literally the same price.
I mean, it has to be the same way that like it's tough for local maltsters to compete because you need the heavy equipment to create the malt consistently.
I understand
it's
that.
the NA beers, like the equipment for it is insane. The pasteurization is insane. Like you can't do that on a 5-barrel system. Like you have to have the right equipment. It costs millions of dollars. So Athletic Brewing like made this huge investment, this huge bet. It's paying off, but these other smaller local craft breweries that are trying to do NA, unless you're just like selling it at the bar, it's going to be hard to make a consistent product that you can distribute.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been hearing everybody else say is like you got to invest if you want to make an actually good non-alcoholic beer, and I think that's why we're not seeing everybody do it right now because it's right now that's where the growth is, but like if you don't have the money to do it, and I have no idea how to make it, but
it's the same thing with seltzers and RTDs. Like small places can absolutely make it, but kind of the name of the game there is just like make something that doesn't have offensive flavors and is clear and bright. And it's really hard to, clarify that and keep the margins low enough where it makes sense. So you're seeing like a lot of the RTD brands and seltzer brands, they're coming out of like macro manufacturing facilities where it's the same exact liquid, it's just different branding. So it's just kind of a little bit different, but I don't know. People are drinking them.
yeah, no, definitely.
And how much, like you said, you sell a ton of Athletic too.
Yeah, dude, I have at least 30 cases in the store at one time. Sometimes more, depending on when I order it. But yeah, I've sold out of it multiple times. Like that person isn't buying just a 6-pack. Like they're buying multiple cases, just to like keep at their house. Like I have multiple customers that will buy like 3 cases of a different Athletic.
So you've been working there for now like what, 12 years, 10 years, something like 10 years?
8 years, I think.
So you've seen kind of the full year, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
What are the big days for you? I mean, you guys are in college town, so I imagine like move in. Is it Super Bowl day you get crushed? Is it July 4th? Or like are there some days that like would surprise us that are like everybody's drinking, everybody's coming in?
Yeah. Homecoming is huge.
Okay.
Thanksgiving Eve is by far.
Okay, yeah.
That day is jumping. I think it's jumping everywhere. I think some people might think it's more of a bar day, but like it's by far.
It's the number one drinking day of the year, I think.
Like it's insane. Like that's really big. Obviously 4th of July, homecoming, and then actually this weekend coming up is pretty big. Just because like it's moving, and then it's moving, and then there's like a small music festival behind the Beermill. It's called Look Around Music Festival. It's literally right behind the Beermill in this open field. They started 3 years ago. That's a pretty cool day. And
Nice.
Porch Fest in West Chester.
Is that a college festival? Or
No, they do it. I love how they do it. It's literally the day in the spring, the first day of weekend of spring when the college kids move out. So there's like no college kids there.
Yes, rejoice.
It's really like great for like locals. The police are really cool with like open container, even though it's like not allowed.
Yeah.
They'll like stop you if you're like being an ass, but it's like pretty awesome. Like just a ton of bands playing on people's porches.
That's cool.
They literally started probably 3 or 4 years ago. I think it's my favorite day in West Chester now. It's awesome.
Nice.
That's a cool one. Just now getting into some of the RTD stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Like, are there any brands that you're like almost thinking about already, like
And it's got to be
preactively?
serve side,
yeah,
right?
stateside and serve side.
Yeah.
So it's like 100%, like number one without a doubt. That's like literally the brand that people have been asking for since the beginning. They're Philadelphia.
I mean,
brand.
truly
Yeah.
local brand at number 4 RTD in the whole country.
Yeah, and they're doing marketing. They're spending money on marketing like nobody else. Like they own Citizens Bank. Like they literally are everywhere. That's all people are seeing.
Full size billboards on 95.
Yeah, I see the billboards everywhere now.
It's insane. Like for a while, like people are just walking in and out. Like they're like, do you have stateside, serve sides? No, and they just be in and out. And so I'm super stoked to have them in our store. I think it's going to be huge for us.
You have like a whole plan of kind of remodeling a piece of the store type
so
of deal.
I'm starting to work out a lot of our older seltzers. If they're not making us money, then there's no point of keeping them on the shelf anymore. The canned seltzers that we're currently carrying, they're down huge, and the canned cocktails are up huge.
Yeah.
So I'm going where the money's at.
Yeah.
I think the money's there. I have a theory. I don't know if this is a crazy theory.
You early on in the podcast, you had a few theories. I feel like this
I
has
don't know
been
if
a couple episodes. This has been a large episode
I
gap
had
between the theories, so I'm
yeah,
excited.
some theories last night too. There's so everything's cyclical. Music, fashion, trends. You know, like every 30, 40 years, everything rotates through. So the way people dress right now, the way people act is like 90s.
Yeah.
Everyone's like mid 90s. Just let me look like, you know, a trash bag. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like
I know
loose
exactly
fitting
what you're
stuff.
saying.
It's like all your clothing is like, if it hasn't been used for the last 20 years, I don't want it. The drinking habits of the 90s, it was macro beer with these crazy, just funny ads that's almost like Instagram Reels now, creating humorous things. And what was popular back then was Zimas, these Seagrams drinks, these artificially flavored drinks that were just like these juices. And I think that Gen Z is like a very weird generation where, you know, they're very health conscious. You know, they want to be about their health. You know, they're taking healthier ways than alcohol to get messed up. You know, doing mushrooms or smoking weed or something because they think it's healthier. But then at the same time, instead of drinking beer that's like almost this artisanal, like locally made, natural alcohol beverage, they're drinking these like macro Zima type drinks.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
That's a good theory, Richie.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, but then like what came after that was the explosion of craft beer. So I'm riding on that train right now.
I think my thing for beer right now is like the cheap light lagers. I think those are what's gonna like really take off. Like you look at New Trail, Crisp Lager, Garage, Kenwood. Like I think those even the LeVante craft pills, like those cheap pilsners. Like I'm seeing it in our store, like people grabbing those over like Miller Lite.
I think
or Natural Light, something like that. They're reaching for those ones just because they're local. Or like they give a local feel. Like Garage, it might not be local to Pennsylvania, but putting Jason Kelsey's face on it makes it feel local. And they're another brand, which is great with branding.
Yeah, I mean they're not a brewery. They're contract brewing out of large breweries in Ohio. But I think the same thing that I talked about with seltzers and iced teas, where like it's basically just a brand. It's yes, craft breweries can make a better quality lager than these other people. But I think the same way that people look at that, and then once everyone starts making hazy IPAs, it just becomes normal. Then it'll start to become normal, and then these people, they cannot compete with the prices. So I think that's another reason why like High Life and all these other things are coming back, because they're seeing like, why am I paying, you know, $18 for a 4-pack of this craft lager when I can pay $18 and get a 30 rack of Miller High Life? You know, so I think craft beer is going to have to switch back to what craft beer is the premium beer category. And I think at some point it's going to have to transition back to these higher priced, hazy IPAs that, you know, you can only make that locally. Like the macro brands can't do that just because the hops are going to, you know, deteriorate. And these like higher end, like, you know, barrel aged things and kind of what craft beer, like, you know, put their hat on for a number of years and grew on was these IPAs and like these like insane stouts and stuff. And I think at some point in the next 5 years, craft beer is going to have to do that because I think it's just a race to zero right now. Everyone making these super premium lagers.
Yeah, I think right now for craft beer, like how to stay relevant is like keeping a price point that like people can afford. Like you look at like Fiddlehead, like they're relatively right around a $15 4-pack.
Yeah.
New Trail right around a $15.
I mean, New Trail is. I mean, you said before, New Trail hasn't had a down month since they opened. That's crazy.
That's insane, and like just like watching them, their innovation is spot on. Like they stick with the times. They see stuff that's happening, and if it's not working, they pivot. And I think that's what you have to do. But you also got to give it some time too. Like if you got to give it a year at least. I think
definitely.
I think I see some brands like they just give up on stuff so fast. It's like a brand that I like talking about that wasn't always a monster is Twisted Tea. Like Twisted Tea wasn't always what they are. Like weren't always this huge brand.
Yeah.
Like it took time to become like Philadelphia's brand.
Twisted Tea that's a Philadelphia thing, right? It's not.
Twisted Tea Light is like.
I did not actually even know that.
Huge Philadelphia.
Do you think Twisted Tea Light is big because it's lower calories, or do you think it's lower because it tastes more like Surfside? It's like a softer. Because the thing with Twisted Tea is it is very sweet.
Yeah.
So a lot of these other seltzers like Surfside, they're not as sweet. Like you can drink multiple of them. And I think Twisted Tea Light is almost like just a better tasting version of Twisted Tea.
Light is just a better tasting version, which is wild too, because like there was a point where they tried to discontinue it, like literally 5 years ago. Like they were like trying to be done with it, and they're like, we're only keeping it for the Philadelphia market. And then literally the next year they went nationwide with the new recipe, which to me was insane, like how they went about thinking about it. But now it's an absolute monster. You see them like they get bar placements, which is like,
it is kind of cool what Sam Adams did because they came. Sam Adams owns Twisted Tea, so they came at the same time that they were buying Dogfish Head, this iconic craft brewery. They were also like pivoting with Twisted Tea, making it like the Antichrist of craft beer right now with these RTDs, and like they were kind of like hitting both angles of it.
Yeah, no, it's super fascinating how they've grown that brand, and it's really impressive. Like just watching it grow in the store, like how I was ordering it at one time to now, I'm ordering it every single week, and it's not just Twisted Tea Light; it's all their brands. And
that's primarily college kids are getting Twisted Tea Lights.
Yeah, definitely. During the summer, like when our demographic changes, Twisted Tea goes down, but that's all teas are going down for us. But like I expect like this semester, like they're going right back at it.
Do you think that you, compared to other people, are selling more smaller packages, like single, like 19.2s to these college kids, or you're selling like more cases of beer? Like,
I think they buy just about everything.
Okay.
There's definitely some 19.2 ounce cans that they grab.
Like, is that a big thing for you? I know that it's like for corner stores that's big.
Yeah, we definitely do pretty well with them. I wasn't a huge fan at first. I shit talked them a lot. I didn't love the idea. But
I just don't like the idea of stadiums and you go to like the Comedy Store or concerts and it's just like, here's your option. Like, all right.
Yeah.
I didn't want this much beer, but I guess I'm buying this much beer.
They've grown on me. They definitely have. You got to keep a lot in stock now. So like that's just more single serve options, but it's a higher margin item. So that's something that like I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
It's just giving a better margin thing for us to make money on. So, but it's funny, like the person grabbing it, they're usually grabbing like a 30-pack and then like a craft IPA, like a 9% New Belgium Imperial Ranger.
Just about balance.
Like 30-pack, yeah. Yeah. So,
are the New Belgiums, are they selling well to college kids?
They'll buy the Juice Force.
Yeah.
The college kids will buy the Sour Monkeys.
Yeah.
Those are like the main ones the college kids are grabbing just because they're on the sweeter, sour end.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're not grabbing. They're mostly grabbing Locos. Locos are Twisted Teas out of that.
Do you sell 40s? I guess 40s are.
Yeah. I went a while without carrying 40s, and then we just kept bringing more in, and they kept selling. So, and they also just switched back to glass. They were in plastic for a while.
The 40s were?
Yeah, they were in 42-ounce plastic. It was like Old English.
Nothing's
Steel
worse
Reserve.
than
Yeah.
a 40 in a plastic bottle of Steel Reserve. It's like
Oh man, it's been a long time since I went for one of those.
Hurricane high gravities.
I think the last time I might have had one of those, I think it was just graduated college and I did a sidewalk slammer. An Old English and a Four Loco Gold.
We used to do the Edward 40 hands. Do you know that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
It's a fun game until you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, bathroom just. I watched one of my buddies. He puked all into the whole bottle. He wasn't giving up. I was like, we gotta go, and he's like, I haven't finished yet. He tries chugging it. And just, boom, got everything into the bottle. It was impressive.
That's funny. So, I mean, you went to West Chester.
Yeah.
You say like people know you around town. Like, are you kind of like leaning into that? Like, when the people that you hire, does anyone stick around? Like, is it becoming?
I usually hire within.
Okay.
At least I try to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm walking down the street and typically if somebody's saying, "Hey Dave, what's up?" or "Yo, Beermill guy," and my girlfriend's walking with me and she's like, "Do you know them?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a customer." And then she'll ask me, "What do they get?" And then I let her know. I'm like, or I'll ask her like, "What do you think they buy?" Because I usually remember what
That's
they
funny.
order every time. So yeah.
That's very funny.
But it's nice. I enjoy it. I love our customers. They're a great time. I love seeing them out, and I love interacting with them.
Cool. So you said, there might be some changes to the store. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I'm just seeing a lot of other stores kind of move to like a higher end, like grocery style.
Yeah.
And leaving that big distributor look behind. So in March, our plan is to do a pretty big renovation on the store. You've been in there, so you've seen it, but we want to get rid of the drop ceiling in there, kind of make it more of an open space, redo the floors. It's kind of just like this old concrete with cracks all over the place, and just give it like a big uplift. We're adding cooler doors down the one wall.
Nice.
Just to add more single serve stuff. And we're super excited about it. The store hasn't really gotten a uplift like this in a long time. I don't think ever, actually. So, so we're pretty pumped about it. So yeah, hopefully March is the plan. Right after the Super Bowl is my goal. But things happen sometimes. But I'm hoping that's like the best time to do it. Usually that week after March, unless we're in the Super Bowl and win. That would be the only reason why it's a bad time to be doing it. But yeah, usually that first week after the Super Bowl, it's pretty dead in the store that time of year.
Yeah, and I think I've seen like just through Stones we talked, and there's just a change in the way that beer stores are kind of operating and like interacting with customers.
Yeah.
And I don't know, something that I think just garners more of a like experience to that itself, and just going into the beer store.
Yeah, it's not just like 30 packs and cases going out the door anymore. It's 4 packs. The customer's spending a little bit more time in there. They're not in there. They don't always know what they're getting anymore. So they're spending anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes in the store chatting with me or one of the employees about like what they should buy, and then also just like shopping. Like they're actually shopping in there and taking a look at what's to offer, which is super fun. That's probably my favorite part of the job, is helping somebody find the perfect beer for them. But yeah, you look at Stones or Shaney's, like those are like some really beautiful stores, and that's why like they're some of the top in the game right now.
Very cool. So, I mean, I guess you talked about like the slushy day. It was like a very busy day. Do you guys ever put on events, or like do people come in? Are there certain things that like beer releases, or you guys bring in a seltzer or something?
Yeah, so there's a couple things that we do that are pretty fun. So at Christmas time, I do an Advent box.
Cool.
That's like a super fun one. So I do 2 different ones. We do like just all Christmas themed one. It's just a bunch of different Christmas beers, and then I do an all IPA one. That one's definitely more expensive. I literally try over like the course of like November 7th to the 20th. I try to get in like the best possible IPAs we can get. I won't even sell them on the floor. It's strictly for the box. Like the box retails for I think like $155. The box is what makes it expensive. It's like a $30 box. It's got perforated holes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's really fun. I usually try to get like 48 of them done, but it's literally the best beer I'm getting in over the like 3-week time span. And then also like just Black Friday is huge. Like by far one of the most fun days. Very stressful because we just put a huge investment on like a ton of Goose Island, Bourbon County. And I want to get it out the door. And it's definitely not doing as well as it has in the past, but I think this year is going to be super fun. People waiting in line at 2 a.m. still. It's
Wow.
crazy to me. And then I usually have like some other cool stouts in there that day, or like barley wines, because like we had like the Brewery Black Tuesday in that day, and we had some Tired Hands and Anchorage Deal with the Devil collabs.
Cool.
So that's always like a super fun day. I really enjoy that one. But yeah, those are like the two like big event days I'd say that we do, and then every once in a while, if I'm feeling up for it, we'll do like $2 slushies. It's usually a random day.
Crazy.
It's usually a random day. It might happen first week when the kids come back, just to like get them in the door. Because like there is a lot of competition over on our side of town for beer stores. So there's like 3 options they could go to, and we all do really, really well. So it's just like a way of getting them into the door and seeing that like we have awesome customer service, clean store, and like more of a fun environment. So we keep them coming back then.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we hit everything. I mean, you guys, it seems like you guys are doing everything right, just kind of being like, you know, the standard of like what a beer distributor should be now. So we've had conversations with Nick and Chris from Kunda Beverage and Stones, and, you know, I think they're some of my favorite interviews. It's like you're able to kind of talk to customers. It's a kind of a different angle than just like craft beer, but I think it's more of like a general oversight of like the whole alcohol industry, which is very interesting.
Yeah, and I love this. This was a lot of fun. So,
Cool. Yeah, so I guess we can find you online at Beermill West Chester.
At Beermill WC on Instagram. That's like the main spot to like find us.
And your email list, sign up for that.
Yeah, head over to our website, beermillwc.com, and then there's a pop-up. You could sign up for that if you want to see like the latest and greatest that's coming in the store.
Cool. And then you can find us at the BrewedAt podcast or at BrewedAt on all social media, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
And on YouTube.
Cool.